apparently chance occurrence of seeing somebody writing in Hebrew would change the whole course of my life. So off I went to the Hebrew department at Wits University. Now, in those days, there weren't too many black people studying Hebrew. Let's put it that way. I think I was the first black person and non-Jew, and probably the last one to ever study Hebrew then. So, we began in the usual way, studying the verb patterns, the noun patterns. So for those of you who studied Hebrew, Pa'alim, Binyamin, Itpa'el, Pi'el, Pu'al, Nif'al, all of that stuff. And I have to admit that at the beginning, it wasn't such a gewaltige Gazach. I didn't feel, aroused by anything. Anyway, halfway through the year, we had language laboratory sessions. For Hebrew language laboratory sessions, we had a native Israeli to help us with pronunciation of texts. And the first session, we were listening to a cassette, and in the background was this Yemenite music, highly reminiscent of camels in the desert. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I heard the following words. Vayhi achar hadabarim ha'ele, va'elokim nisait Avraham vayomer elav. Avraham, vayomer hineni. Vayomer kachna et bincha et yechidcha asher ahavta et Yitzchak. Velech lecha el eretz hamoriya, va'aleu sham le'olah al achad ha'arim asher umar elecha. This, I felt, was opening to me an inner dimension of truth. Allowing me to reach, as it were, into my own soul. I felt that this particular text, which they call Akedat Yitzchak, the binding of Isaac, I felt it was telling me something personal about myself and what the whole journey through life is about. I'm sure that just about all of us are familiar with this text. It is a very basic text in Jewish ritual. Those who arrive to daven Shachris in time say it every day. And it's really a story from which I took two things, from which I learned two major lessons, which have accompanied me through my life ever since. Avraham Avinu is asked by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring his son up as a sacrifice. This is already after Hashem has promised him that it's going to be through Yitzchak, through his son Yitzchak, that the Jewish people are going to come into being. So obviously that means a total contradiction to what Hashem has told him before. And as we think of how much self-sacrifice, how much prayer went into bringing Yitzchak into this world. Both Sarah and Abram were old. And Chazal tell us that Sarah didn't even have a womb, let alone not being able to become pregnant. And then finally Hashem does a miracle and brings Yitzchak into the world, and then Hashem says, okay, bring him up as a sacrifice. How does a person respond to Hashem when put in such a situation? We know exactly how Avram Avinu responded. Vayashkem Avram baboker. Avram woke up early in the morning to do Hashem's bidding. In Hasidic thought, in Hasidic and Kabbalistic thought, there's a certain expression which is used, which is called hitbatlut, self-nullification, nullifying one's own will to the divine will. And this is exactly what Avram Avinu did. This is what is also expected of the Jewish people. To try and find out in each situation what the will of Hashem is. Not to be thinking, what do I want from this? Or what can this situation do for me? But rather thinking, what does Hashem want from me in this particular situation? But we realize that nullifying oneself to Hashem's agenda is not an easy thing. As soon as someone decides that they're going to cooperate with Hashem, they find that there is a force that tries to